From Chicago's Cabrini Green, one half of the Soul Patrol, Envy.
We beat the Soul Patrol. We left Chicago to work for Glow. I'm Envy and she's Adore. People say we're rotten right to the core.
Welcome to the Mike Rand Show, and today's special guest is from Glow, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, one half of the tag team, the Soul Patrol, Envy. Hey, Envy, how are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Mike Rand?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
So tell us, how did you get started in Glow?
Well, my girlfriend, Sharon, who was my partner in Glow, Ebony, she did the pilot. That was her friend. And Ebony said, hey, you guys should come down and check out this show that I'm in. But, we're wrestlers. I'm like, wrestlers? Okay. So we went to the Riviera Hotel. We saw the girls training. And we're looking at this, and we met David McLean, and I'm like, I don't know. We're looking at each other like, can we do that? Because we were not, I was not an athlete. I mean, I did cheerleading. I'm not going to, some people will say cheerleading was being an athlete, but I didn't do all those flips and I wasn't like that, okay? So we're like, I don't know. That looks pretty rough, man. And I don't know if I'm going to get thrown around the ring. But then when David said, well, this is how much you're going to get paid a week. And we're like, oh, we're down. Okay. So money talk, let me tell you, Rand. Let me tell you. So we're like, okay. So he says, all right, we'll come back, tomorrow and hook it up. Matter of fact, my job that I was working at was like, I was ready to get out of there. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to make some money. And we did.
Had you ever watched wrestling before or was familiar with wrestling at the time?
What'd you say?
Did you ever watch wrestling on television at that time or was familiar with
I've
wrestling?
seen the men's wrestling on television, but that wasn't something I was into. I didn't watch wrestling. I wasn't down with wrestling. It was not, the wrestling I know was like the wrestling basically in high school. So it was all new territories. But who was my trainer at the time? It was Debbie Miller. She was the trainer.
Dallas, yes.
And, and she was scary. I tell that all the time. I'm like going, girl, you scared out of me. But she was a good trainer. So anyway, so she trained me. And I think it was, who else was a trainer? Wasn't a male, it was another female. I can't remember. But anyways, it was definitely scary, interesting, exciting. And that was at the Riviera Hotel. That was pretty fun. And we didn't live on the premises. A lot of girls stayed at the hotel, but we did not Sharon and I. We had our own apartment off campus, so that was great. So we weren't involved with anything that was going on, like any drama or anything like that. So we were like, nope, checked out of that.
What was the training like for you? What kind of things did you have to do? What, like, as a daily routine?
Everything. That's my cat. The flips, learning how to take the fall, learning how to hit the mat without getting injured, getting tossed out of the ring over the ropes, and any type of wrestling move, all the wrestling moves, matter of fact. But I wasn't really down with a lot of the wrestling moves. So I had Sharon, Sharon do most of the physical shit. I was just my mouth. If you look at the match, it was usually me. Because I could talk some shit. But one of my favorite moves was, I think it was doing the drop kick. That was probably like one of my favorite ones by far. That was it.
So how did the characters of Soul Patrol get created?
Okay, so David McLean allowed us to decide if we were going to go be the baby faces or the heels. And we're like, heels? Oh, whoa. So he goes, okay, good. And then he goes, well, you figure out your name, figure out your costume. So he allowed us to do that. I think a lot of girls, they didn't get that. We literally came in right after the pilot, by the way. So the pilot was made and we came in literally like, boom, right then. So we came up with, we're like, well, we sisters. So how about soul? Yeah, okay. And patrol, because we're patrolling the wrestling ring. Yeah, that sounds good, Soul Patrol. But did you know, Mike, that there was wrestlers back in the 70s that were men called Soul Patrol? Had no idea.
I didn't know that either.
I looked it up. I was like, wait a minute, there were men wrestlers, brothers, back in the 70s, could even be in the 60s, named Soul Patrol. And here we are thinking that we created a new name. We did it. That's so cool, Soul Patrol. Okay. And then we said, and then Sharon's like, okay, we decided we're going to pick purple. So we picked purple as the outfits. And then we threw leather in because leather's tough, you know, leather and lace. So it's part of lace with the outfit. So the outfit was a corset tops, as you know. And Sharon picked that, which didn't work well for me because I always had a little Janet Jackson happening in the ring. I'd be flying down the ring and I'm like, oh no. And boing, boing. So that wasn't cool because, you know, it was a lot of children there, right? Watching it live. So it was leather and lace, and it was corset and little panties and lace stockings, and yeah, and our nunchucks.
Okay, so with the characters of the Soul Patrol, one of the fun things that you got to do is you got to be in a series of sketches called Hip Hop Dictionary. Can you tell us what it was like filming those sketches?
Well, they put us in a room with actual like desks from like high school, and then off camera, someone was just like feeding us those questions. We thought at the time they were pretty lame, but of course we did it. I mean, I guess it was fun, but not so funny if you asked me. Then we're like, all right, do it. But after seeing it back, you know, on the show, because, you know, we're doing things, but we don't see the shows. So going back in time and looking at it, it's like, because I'm telling you, I have not seen any of the shows when they were done until all these years later. So seeing that the Soul Patrol Hip Hop Dictionary, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It was pretty funny to watch because it's like, wow, that's me back then. And I don't know, it's just crazy. You know, it's 30 something years later. It's really wild, right?
Yep.
I mean, personally for me to go back in time, it's like, I was like 21 years old and doing this, and it's, oh, I'm dating myself. Y'all don't be trying to figure out how old I am. But anyways, it was, you know, it was what it was.
Looking back, you had a lot of matches over the years in seasons 1 and 2. Are there any matches that stand out to you that was a lot of fun for you to do?
Yeah, we wrestled with Tina and Ashley. And why it was so fun, it was like my dad was in the audience, and he was in the front row, I think with a couple of family members, and we used him in one of the matches, which is funny. So when I had Ashley out in the outside the ring and I was dragging her around, my dad was sitting there and I said, "Kiss that black man's feet. Kiss that black man's feet." And I had her head down in there, and I was like, my dad was just giggling away. He was just like laughing. I was like, oh my God. And seeing that back after all this time, because I never saw it until, of course, thanks to YouTube. I saw those matches. I saw that match. My dad since passed like many years ago. And to see that, it was like, oh my God, that's my dad. You know, it was like an emotional thing, a connection to that. So that was a really good match. It was really, really, really fun. And then there was matches that were not so fun because girls got out of control and their adrenaline was like so sky high, and you actually got really injured or hurt by somebody like stomping on you and knocking the wind out of you.
Did you have any injuries while you were in Glow?
The girl stomping on me and knocking the wind out of me. And that's when I was like to David, I said, I'm not even gonna say who it was, but I was like, you know, so-and-so, she really stomped on me. I can't, because I was like, and he's like, get him. If you know what that means. So we did.
If you couldn't play the Soul Patrol, let's say, for some reason, looking back at all the other characters that you worked with, is there any character that you really liked and thought, I could play that character? Or is there any girl who had a certain character that you're like, I really like her character. That would be a fun character to play?
We're talking about the just the first and second seasons that I've been in. We're not talking about third and fourth, because I really don't, at that time I didn't know those characters. So I'm assuming you're talking about first and second, the girls I wrestled with. I think at some point in my mind, I thought, you know what, it'd probably be kind of cool to be a baby face, because a lot of people really love them, and a lot of them looked really pretty too. Like they made them really glammy and not so much us. Not that we were ugly, but who would it be? Jungle Woman.
Yeah, Jungle Woman was a great character.
Jungle Woman. She was gorgeous. I mean, oh my God. The other one, but nah, I couldn't pull that one off. Palestina.
Yeah, Palestina was a real great character as well.
She was, yeah. Yeah. You know, another character who thank God I never had to wrestle against was Spanish Red. She scared the crap out of me.
Oh, I was going to say, because I mean, she was a great wrestler. I was going to say, is there anybody that you were scared if you ever had a match against them that you didn't wrestle? Who would you be scared of?
Spanish Red, man. Oh, Lord. Wow. She was on fire.
Yeah, I have to say, Spanish Red, if you're watching, you've got a lot of fans out there that are dying to hear your stories.
Good Lord, yeah, she's some. You gotta hand to her, man. Some girls really got into like the whole wrestling thing, you know, like really perfecting it, and I was really lackadaisy about it. It's like, it's whatever.
Is there any girl that maybe you didn't get to wrestle that you wish they would have paired you against?
Well, I think we wrestled everyone. I mean, not really. Mm-mm.
Okay. And then after Glow, there was a point after season 2 where a majority of the girls actually left and moved on to another series called POW. So there was a little bit of transition for Glow fans. Can you talk a little bit about how that came to be?
Well, I heard that David was, after the 2 years, after the 2 seasons, that he was leaving. And I connected really well with David, really well. And he just got us. He understood. That's not Matt December. Not really, no. I didn't have really any connection with him. And I knew that he was the one that's going to be sticking with it. And David was moving on. And I don't know even at that point if he said he was starting another show at that time. I can't remember. Well, no, maybe, I guess he did. So we decided to go on with David. Just not even knowing where Glow was going to go, or we didn't know what was going to happen with Glow. We did the show. That's it. And so between the Glow and the POW, we just lived our lives, try to get a job and, work and stuff. And then it took time for that POW to, I guess, come together. Then we ended up with POW for a month living in Miami Beach and shooting and filming there. So yeah.
And what was your character in POW?
Oh, I made it. Okay. So it was just me. So Sharon didn't come with. Um, yeah, it's a whole other story. uh, it was Lady Soul. Of course, had that soul in there. It was Lady Soul. And then we ended up having I ended up having a tag team. It was Thrill Seekers. That was Essence and Adore. Oh, no, Essence and Passion. I was Essence. My cousin was Passion. Was there somebody else in there? Why do I feel like there was 3 characters in there? No, that was it. And we had cool outfits. I love those outfits. We had bolero hats and we had sequins capes and oh my God. And I loved it because we were based in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we stayed in some condos there, all of us girls. And we met up with new ones, which was like the Peggy Lee Leather, George Peach. Oh, we fought against Wendy Richter. She scared me. She scared me. Oh my God. Who was the one with the snake? Oh, what was her name? I loved her. Oh, she had a big snake in POW.
Luna, I want to say.
Luna. It was Luna. She was great. She's crazy. That was fun times there. I'm gonna say I had really fun times with them for sure. And just meeting those because they were like, oh my God, these look like professional wrestlers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not that I mean, somebody might say Carmen now, come on now. But for real, for me, it was like, oh my God, Peggy Lee Leather, Luna. Because, people have heard of them. They've been around and around and around, so it was pretty cool. Yeah.
When you moved on to POW, you were a solo wrestler. So how was it for you? Because that was the first time you didn't have a door with you. You didn't have a tag team partner. So how was it like the first time you stepped into the ring being on your own?
Well, I guess it was kind of my fault that I felt slightly insecure because Sharon did like more of the heavy lifting. If you want to come down to the truth about it, I didn't do the body slams normally. I didn't. There's certain things, so it was kind of left on, the other person who I was wrestling against to kind of pick up the slack some of it, if you know what I mean. So that was tough, but I did have other partners, but it wasn't like, thrown in with me. So that was fine. But yeah, it was tough.
And when POW ended, what did you do afterwards?
POW ended. Where was I living? We moved, so we came back to Vegas and, just had to live my life. So basically me and Janine, because Janine was in POW too. Janine was Palestina. We moved to California, got an apartment, and I did some modeling. And then I ended up leaving and going to London, living in London for a bit, came back. And, it's 30-year span. So let's just say, and in between that time, got married, had a kid. She's going to be 20 now. I'm doing some acting, some modeling. That's what I'm doing now.
And during that time, you did have a little extra role on a pretty big show. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, yeah. So the show that Mike is referring to was Friends. It was a really big hit back when. And I was an extra at that time. My daughter was really young, and my mom was living with us. This was in California. And I had a friend of mine who was a casting agent for Central Casting. And so I would go on a lot of the popular shows. And so this particular time, I'm driving in the car trying to get to Friends, and the traffic's so, California, I don't know if you know it, but traffic is horrendous, especially early AM. So I'm driving there. I get the call from him, a casting director. And he goes, you make sure you be there on time, because Friends, they don't play that. You have to be there on time. I go, well, why did you tell me that? I'm stuck in traffic. I don't think I'm going to get there on time. I don't think I'm going to get there on time. So he said, you're going to be late. And don't be late. So I'm like, I'm going to be late. I think I'm going to be late. He goes, you can't have that. I'm like going, I think I might be late. I'm like, oh my God, I'm panicking. I finally get there. I finally park. I get up to the set. I walk there. There's people waiting to get in. Some people already made it in. It was me and another girl that finally came behind me. And I see the casting is the AD, assistant director. And I'm like going, well, I'm so-and-so. I'm here for Friends. And they're like, oh, well, you're late. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. It's traffic. I mean, and the guy goes, oh, isn't that nice that you can just show up and be late? I'm like going, what is this guy's deal, man? And he was just like, oh, like, I said, excuse me. I said, do you think, honestly, I wanted to be purposely late? I said, this is the first time for me driving here in traffic. And I didn't realize it was going to be like this. And so whatever, they got over it, and they let me in. this is how it is. This is how it was back then. It's like, oh God, really? And I'm like going, all right. So I get in there, and the same guy that was acting like that to me, he's the one who put me and the other girl who was like an hour late, in that scene with Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, and Lisa Kudrow. And Lisa is so funny. She is hilarious. Courtney Cox was standoffish. She had really gorgeous, beautiful blue eyes. Jennifer Aniston was really cool. And I had a scene with her. And then when I had the scene with her, she was sitting there and she's like kind of upset. And I'm like going, what's wrong? And she said, all these people are in my eye line. And I'm like, oh, well, I can't have too much conversation with her because that's not allowed. I mean, it just even came out of my mouth saying, what's wrong? And so she was really cool. It was a really fun day. It was with Danny DeVito. He played the stripper. He was so fun. That was like, I think it was like the best time. It was one of the best shows it was on. It was so freaking hilarious. Danny DeVito was great. Everybody was really friendly. I don't know what else I can say about it. It was just I think it was on it for 2 or 3 days, because that's how it works when you shoot sitcoms. So you have a live audience, and then you have rehearsals and stuff like that. So it was really fun. It was a really good day. The girls were all gorgeous in person.
Yeah,
lovely.
And I mean, especially of all the days to be there, to be cast with Danny DeVito must have been such a great surprise for you to be in that episode.
Yeah, I had no idea. He was hilarious. I mean, he was so funny. If you look back and see the episode, oh my God, it was so funny. It was a trip. Yeah.
So then the years went by, and then, nobody's really talking about Glow or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, the documentary comes out. So I wanted to know, did you get to see the documentary? Were you a part of it? If you could let the fans know anything about that.
Well, I guess they were trying to search for people to be in the documentary, and I was pretty much nowhere for people to find me. I don't even know if I was really on Facebook. I don't even know. But I got a call from Angelina. That's her name, right? Yep. Little Egypt. And she was talking to me about it, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm that interested in going back in time 30 years of it was just like, I have my life, and do I need, I don't know, whatever. And I don't know what changed my mind, but then I met up with Ashley, because we were close friends back when, and I went with her. She flew out to California. I went with her to the premiere that was in Silver Lake, California. So that's the premiere I saw then, the documentary. And it was really, blew me away. Now, was I in it? They probably threw bits and pieces of Soul Patrol, but I did not have an interview or anything. Obviously, if you guys saw the documentary, I had no part of it. But it was really, really emotional. I was sitting there going, yeah.
And then after the documentary, Glow Netflix came out, and I was wondering if you had a chance to see the show, and what are your thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, I mean, Twin Cities Live, that's where I did a whole interview with them, if you've seen that. So I spoke about that at that time. And yeah, I watched all seasons of it. I don't even know if the fourth season is going to come out this summer because of everything that's going down. So I gave it a 7 out of 10 the first season. But what threw me was that first episode, if you know what I mean. The first scene of that first episode threw me because I was like, what is this? I'm like, okay. So certain things threw me. I was trying to figure out what character was who was it mixed in with, and blah, blah, blah. It did make me laugh. I laughed out loud. So I had my daughter watch some of it too. She liked it. And I think it's great.
And then now you actually are doing a couple different things. If you could tell the fans what you're actually up to nowadays, you actually do have a little YouTube channel going on and some other things going on in your life, if you'd like to share.
Yeah, my husband, he's really a big YouTuber, and he has his blog out there. And so he's like, come on, you need to do your own, and blah, blah, blah. So we're like trying to figure out a name, and it's called Carmen Wrestling with Life. It's my YouTube channel. So I talk about, many different things. Basically, it's about traveling and different things regarding life is the show. I haven't put on any episode recently just because. And then also on Instagram, Carmen underscore camp. On Instagram, I'm Carmen _Campbell _Villalobos. I also have on Instagram, it's called, it's a Think Positive channel. It's all positivity. So it's Think Positive Vibes 2020. I have to think about that one. So I just read just positive stuff out of a really cool book. And then on Facebook, I'm on Carmen Wickert. Unfortunately, my whole fan page, I can't get into. I got locked out. So I let people just come into my personal page.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And is there anything that you'd like to say to the fans that are watching out there today?
Stay tuned and seriously get into Mike Rand's show, because I know it's going to be awesome. Because Mike Rand, it's so much of a pleasure meeting you, because we've never spoke before.
Yeah,
you've always been really cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool. I asked you for things, pictures, videos. You're always there, always willing to help. And it's really cool. My husband even goes, just ask Mike Rand. He seems to like be into the whole glow thing, and he probably has information. He probably has the tapes. He probably has pictures. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like going, yeah, I will ask Mike Rand. And you never said, I'm not helping you. You've always been great. So it's such a pleasure. And I had no idea you lived in Connecticut. And how's Connecticut?
Yeah, Connecticut's awesome. I love being here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
So thank you so much again for joining us today. Everybody, keep it right here. We've got some more great interviews, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.